Unfortunately, Chyna being a trailblazer didn't erase the fact that her personal life,
with her being in there in the mid-2000s, ain't it still crazy that it took until 2015 for women to like matter in the ring?
strap up and prepare to delve deeper into this wrestling icon's groundbreaking career, turbulent personal life, and lasting
I knew
legacy
she had
in the world of
a drug
wrestling.
problem
This
after
is
leaving,
the
but I didn't know
tragic
like
story of Chyna.
We're now learning
how
that
deep
an
it was going.
accidental overdose could have been what killed former wrestling star Chyna.
She not even Asian, right? She's
As before she was shattering preconceived gender stereotypes, Chyna, just like any other human, was a little girl with dreams and aspirations of her own. She was born as Joan Marie Laura on December 27, 1969.
So she ain't even
young
Chinese.
Laura didn't get the privilege to enjoy a delightful
Fuck.
childhood. Her parents divorced
She
when she was
lied.
around 4 years old, and throughout her life, she had 3 stepfathers and 1 stepmother. Chyna had a hard time with father figures growing up because her first stepfather threatened to commit suicide at one point, while her biological father had a problem with alcoholism. Her home environment that she grew up in was so
crazy.
tumultuous, in fact, that one time she accidentally stabbed her mother in the thigh with a butcher knife. Going through all of this was
How do you
incredibly
do that?
traumatic for the young Chyna, and from 1973 to 1983, she was born as Joan Marie Laura on December 27, 1969.
You lying?
Unfortunately, young Laura didn't get the privilege to enjoy a delightful childhood. Her parents divorced when she was around 4 years old, and throughout her life, she had 3 stepfathers
What the
with
fuck?
alcoholism. Her home environment that she grew up in
Okay.
was so tumultuous, in fact, that one time she accidentally stabbed her mother in the thigh with a butcher knife. Going
How
through
do you-
all of this
again,
was
how do you do that?
incredibly traumatic for the young Chyna, and from 1973 to 1983, she, her siblings, and her mother moved several times because of their unstable life. Chyna revealed that in the 7th grade, she was SA'd by a much older teacher. By the age of 13, her mental health was so bad that she developed bulimia. She had gone through so much at such an early age that it was no surprise that she eventually started dabbling in drugs. Her mother eventually caught her, and she left home at 16 to live with her biological father when her mother tried to force her into a drug rehabilitation facility in order to sort out her drug issues. When she was 16 and searching for meaning in the world, she came across something that would change her life forever, and that is bodybuilding. She began working out, and because of her good genetics, she became
Cat? Wait, what's cat? We go through shit every day, just walking off loser. Oh wait, she checked. Yo, that's fucking crazy. That is fucking crazy.
strong. She became so strong, in fact, that when she was developing an ovarian tumor, she did not feel any pain. because her
What?
muscles were so tight. This tumor was removed, but Chyna's trauma unfortunately extended into her college years, as while she was studying at the University of Tampa, she was R-worded by 2 men when they found her drunk at a party. She recovered from this traumatizing event and went on to work several jobs. She was R-worded.
Okay, like.
Including a waitress at a strip club and a belly dancer. She only worked these jobs so that she could pay the bills, but what she really wanted to do was bodybuilding. After college,
R-word as in graped, yeah. I hate that shit. That was a crazy clip. Raping somebody's not gonna get you 5 big booms. That's actually a diabolical
Chyna
clip,
began
but,
to
like,
regularly
I
enter
wasn't
fitness
lying.
competitions, but because of her large size compared to the other women and beauty standards in the 90s, she usually finished in last place. She was not appreciated in the fitness world, but one place where she felt that she could thrive was in the wrestling world due to her impressive physique. With the widely successful Attitude Era merely a couple of years away, Chyna started her pro wrestling training under the tutelage of Killer Kowalski. If this name rings a bell, it's because Killer Kowalski was a massive star back in the
then
day.
he raped her!
He was the same trainer who had a hand in training the legendary Triple H. Circling back to Chyna, her training arc was a story in its own right. Due to the lack of female performers in the wrestling school, she had to train and compete with men, which was a challenge in itself, but not a deal breaker for the incredibly committed
I just
woman.
falsely
She had a first match
accused
in
homeboy
1995, and shortly after, she decided to pop on numerous independent wrestling shows under the name Joni Lee. She made her WWF debut on February 16, 1997 at In Your House 13 Final 4. She was treated like a serious problem right off the bat, given how swiftly she disposed of Goldust's then manager Marlena. She quickly assumed the role of the no-nonsense enforcer slash bodyguard for D-Generation X. Over the next 4 years, Chyna left no stone unturned to create a legacy that would be talked about for decades to come. She became the first women's wrestler to take part in the Men's Royal Rumble, and not only that, but she also got to throw out the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, over the top rope. If that wasn't impressive enough, she was a multi-time women's champion, and she became the first and only female wrestler to win the Intercontinental Championship. Not to forget that a comedic romantic storyline with Eddie Guerrero is still remembered in words of profound appreciation. The chemistry between the two was off the charts and made for incredibly enjoyable TV. As successful and popular Chyna was in WWE, she had her detractors. Many people had the opinion that she was not a good wrestler and that she was always carried by other wrestlers in her matches. Many fans also...
Chat, was she? Can we confirm or deny? I have to sweat. Why am I still in the Stranova category? I need viewers. Ooh, I can switch to 25 now, right? Boom. Was she carried? I don't know.
Said that they couldn't tell if she was a man or a woman, and they criticized
That's
her
fucking
for looking
crazy.
too manly. There were also multiple accusations by fans that Chyna was on roids.
She wasn't bad, but like, so you know, you've seen Chyna matches. I never watched a single match that she did, like a singles match.
This accusation was not baseless though, because
Great
Chyna
for
had
her
the
time though, I'm
telltale
sure.
signs of virilization caused by roid abuse. While she clearly had good genetics, her physique was definitely out of the realms of natural women bodybuilders, and later on in her life she also suffered from roid-related health issues. However, at the time, none of this mattered, because following a tough childhood and a difficult early adulthood,
I mean, I assume it's harder done than said, but like, can't you just like, after you stop doing the roids, wouldn't you just like slim down and fucking just have like a leaner build where you're still muscular, but it's like it's not as much mass, right? Because that shit's it's supposed to make you huge, right? So like if you stop doing it, you're gonna go down eventually. It's gonna turn into like I don't know how any of that shit works. I'm fat as fuck. I had WWF tapes because at some point we only had a VHS. I had VHS. I had one of the really, really old, like early 90s SummerSlam ones on VHS. That was like Hulk Hogan era. I had VHS from something from then. I had one episode of Saturday Night Live on VHS. I had the same episode of Barney. It was like, I had fucking, I'm trying to remember. I had a good amount of VHS tapes. I had the best of Triple H or whatever, the one they dropped some point in the 2000s. I had that shit. Y'all remember the one where it was like the container that the disc comes in, but it was a thing. So like it was a picture of Triple H on the cover of it, and then the sleeve it goes in is kind of like another picture, but it was like it's a picture of him, but you take off the sleeve and it's like one of those like see-through, almost holographic ones where like he turns into a fucking skeleton. It was like a King of Kings thing. It was cool as fuck. I have it somewhere laying around here. I also have like something along the lines of like a compilation disc of like every single World Heavyweight Championship match. It's like all of them in a big ass compilation. So it was a best of Triple H thing, and then I had a separate thing of all the heavyweight championships.
it started looking like Chyna had.
That's all I had wrestling wise. I had those
Not
three
only was
things.
she winning in front of the camera,
I had so many fucking DVDs, bro.
but she was also under the assumption that she had found her forever love in Triple H. The pair were inseparable on the road,
Fuck
bonding
no.
over their dedication to a healthy lifestyle, a love of lifting weights, and a determination to plot their way to the top of the wrestling world. But little did she know that her Romeo and Juliet-esque love with the game and her meteoric rise to superstardom in WWE was only setting the stage for her unfortunate fall. The real-life power couple comprising of her and Triple H headed toward a split when Chyna found out that the game's storyline affair with the boss's daughter, Stephanie McMahon, was more than just a storyline. Triple H was actually cheating on Chyna in real life with Stephanie McMahon, leading to the end of their relationship.
W!
How'd you find out he was cheating?
That's it, he killed her. He killed her. That's it.
Did you catch him?
I found a note, actually. Yeah, I found a note.
Like a written note?
A written note.
What did it say?
From Stephanie, from Date of the Year, like tucked away in his briefcase.
What did the note say?
What was in the note?
Just a note from her saying, you know, how much she loved him, and she was on the airplane or something writing him a love note, and the date was dated like a year beforehand, so that's how I knew.
Her breakup with the cerebral
Yeah,
assassin.
he a whore. He a whore. W's in chat. W means the word whore because it starts with a W. It's not cool. Don't cheat.
Didn't help her position in the sports entertainment giant, as Triple H had a lot of influence backstage. She then made a few mistakes that soured her relationship.
I would have done the
with
same thing. What? I mean, this isn't a good still frame. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
top WWE brass. First up, she demanded a contract that would boost her downside guarantee to $1 million a year. Mind you, this was in the late 90s and early 2000s.
And this is for her being
and only
mid in the ring?
absolute certified draws were making that much. While there's no denying that Chyna's contributions to the company and changing the perception of women's wrestling were astronomical, the high-ups excused themselves from offering a contract that big to Chyna and only offered her $400,000, which was a large amount for a woman in those days. But Chyna still rejected this, causing negotiations to stall.
If I was her, as long as I'm getting paid more than all the other women for what I'm currently doing for them, the work I'm putting in to make them look like they're being taken seriously, I would have took that shit.
And that put her relationship with WWE
I would have said 500.
on the rocks. Being a wrestler in the WWE isn't the only way to rake in the big bucks. WWE superstars have collaborated with other brands, appeared in Hollywood projects, and so on. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that towards the end of her run in WWE, Chyna's unique build caught the eye of those outside of the wrestling business, and thus, during her prime, she was asked to pose for Playboy.
What?
It turns out that this
Just on Twitch is fucking crazy. Like
this would lead to another
can I fucking watch the rest of this even?
but you can't do Playboy because she got offered to do Playboy. She
I would have cracked that.
chose Playboy over the belt. She went and got her boobs done 1 week and didn't tell Vince, and when she came back, he was pissed. Chyna was evidently on the bad side of Vince, and by the end of 2001, she was unceremoniously let go by the WWE.
Well, it was literally pulled the rug out from underneath me because I went from like, you know, this $1 billion commodity, right? You know, in this business.
Billion is crazy. Won't lie.
On the street, you know, nothing.
Despite her release, Chyna was
Where
fully
can I find this Playboy? Sir, you are on a phone right now watching this stream. You have a computer in your hand.
aware of her widespread popularity. She decided to shoot for the sky and make a name for herself in TV and film. She landed various commercials and appeared on a special celebrity edition of Fear Factor, along with multiple other reality TV shows. However, her quest to become a major player in Hollywood didn't pan out according to her expectations. Going to Hollywood wasn't the only non-wrestling venture that Chyna had in mind. After her release from WWE, she found herself engulfed in the world of adult films. Her debut adult film,
Let's go!
titled One Night in China, was released in 2004, and it featured her and her
That's a crazy name.
then boyfriend, Sean Waldman, also known as X-Pac.
X-Cock?
The explicit movie sold over a whopping 100,000 copies, and
That
while
was
its
crazy.
successful
I didn't have to
performance
say
would have
that.
called for an immense celebration,
Got my worm in my hand. Understandable.
Chyna claimed that the lewd film was released without her consent, and she didn't get any money from the release. This, however, didn't stop Chyna from appearing in a second adult video in 2009, titled Another Night in China. In 2011,
Okay.
she took the plunge and she starred in her first professional adult film for Vivid Video, titled Backdoor to China. She also starred for Vivid as She-Hulk in their parody of their event.
I'll be back. I gotta do some research.
Released in May of 2012. A spin-off feature centered on the She-Hulk character, She-Hulk XXX,
Hear
was
me
released in video in
out.
April of 2013. That was the last of her videos in the adult film industry. Regarding her relationship with ex-D-Generation X member Sean Waltman, it was anything but a smooth sail. Waltman confirmed that Triple H had warned him about going out with Chyna, as it might lead him down a path that he would regret. Waltman still followed his heart and found out the hard way that his fellow clique buddy was right. From engagements, repeated breakups and patch-ups in the span of 2 years, to Chyna getting arrested for allegedly hitting Waltman in the presence of his kids, no one got out of this relationship in a better spot. Waltman claimed that Chyna was constantly struggling with drug and alcohol.
I think I seen the She-Hulk John back in the day. I would have never watched shit like that. That is actually
addiction,
crazy.
in addition to her mental health being in a shambles. In January of 2005,
She-Hulk is
she
crazy.
appeared on the Howard Stern show, and it was clear as day that she was in desperate need of help. The way she was talking and slurring her speech was nothing short of a tragedy to witness. On the program, she said that she did not want to do drugs anymore, but she said that if a line of coke was in front of her, she would do it. Her mind was clearly frazzled, and watching someone who a lot of people look up to act in such a way was just plain sad. The once pioneer female icon in a male-dominated space was now struggling to hide the fact that she had hit rock bottom with no knowledge of how to swim back to the shore. But it appeared that things hadn't gotten to a point of no return. Following her disastrous interview with Howard Stern, Laura pledged to herself that she'd stop drinking and be treated for her depression. In early 2008, she was part of the VH1 reality TV show Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, and it was on this show that she claimed that she didn't consider herself an addict, even though she clearly was. Still, she tried her best to open up as Dr. Drew tested her emotional endurance by interrogating her on why she was in rehab if she didn't consider herself an addict. By the end of the year, it was once again confirmed that the trailblazing former Intercontinental Champion was nowhere close to being in a good mental state, because in December of 2008, she was rushed to the hospital after her birthday party when she was found unconscious with fresh self-harm wounds on her arms.
So how was she used and abused in WWE? She got cheated on, and then she got fired because she did something stupid. So how was she abused in any way in the company? That's...
Chyna was clearly suicidal. Despite all of these challenges and hardships, Chyna's strength wasn't only defined by her muscles, but also her willingness to keep on going no matter what setback she ran into. This was a testament to her resilient spirit. After nearly 10 years of failed ventures and substance abuse problems, the First Lady of Sports Entertainment decided to give wrestling another chance. She was scooped up by TNA in 2011, and she made her debut as Kurt Angle's ally against the devious couple of
2011, that was when TNA was just, let's fucking hire everybody that's retired. It's basically AEW right now. Let's fucking hire every single person we can. Triple H cheated, so it means she was abused. That's not being fucking abused at all. That's not what abuse is. Fuck you, you're a loser if you have cheated on someone, but that's not abuse. It depends. If it's like repeated, it could be like emotional abuse, maybe. But like, I cheated on you? That's crazy. What other streamer did you watch instead of me?
Jeff and Karen Jarrett. Chyna helped the Olympic gold medalists in silencing the Jarretts, and it started looking like the Impact Zone would be a home for years to come. But hey, what are happy endings but a myth? As Chyna was getting familiar with the workings of TNA, word got out that she was keen on returning to the adult film industry and that one of her controversial X-rated films was nearing its release. Thus, TNA had no choice but to cut ties with the Amazonian trendsetter. It would turn out that Chyna's affiliation
That's literally her fault. You had a job at TNA and you still did porn.
with the adult movie business didn't only affect her partnership with TNA, but it also blocked her from going into WWE's Hall of Fame. Chyna thought that it was her issues with Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Vince McMahon that ultimately caused her to not be in the Hall of Fame.
In my campaign to be inducted, a lot of other issues have come up which I feel are personal between myself and Hunter and myself and Vince, and I have gone to WWE offices to try to get a meeting to discuss these issues personally with Hunter and with Vince.
Oh my god, bro, you know what? I see why she cheated. This bitch voice is fucking crazy.
Chyna was denied that opportunity. However, the reason she never got into the WWE Hall of Fame was not because of her beef with her, Vince, and Triple H. In an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H had the following to say: "From a career standpoint, she could be in the Hall of Fame, absolutely. It's a bit difficult though, and this is the flip side of the coin that nobody looks at. I've got an 8-year-old kid. My 8-year-old kid sees the Hall of Fame, and my 8-year-old kid goes on the internet to look at, oh, this is Chyna. I've never heard of her. I'm 8 years old. I've never heard of that. So I go type it in. I go punch it up, and what comes up? And I'm not
Dick!
criticizing
Literally,
anybody.
yeah.
I'm not criticizing lifestyle choices. Everybody has their reasons. I don't know what they were, and I don't care to know. It's not a morality thing or anything else. It's just the fact of what it is. That's a difficult choice." Triple H was definitely talking about the multiple explicit videos of her fornicating on the internet. Seeing that the WWE and TNA door was shut, and all
Bro, she literally... Would I be a piece of shit? Would I be actually insane to say she did this shit to herself? You had stability in the fucking business, and you got your fucking boobs done and got fired. That was the first time around. Second time around, you decided to go back into the fucking porn industry. When you had another job that was also stable, you were back in the business, and you fucked that up. It was just choices.
prospects of a wrestling career were now dead and gone.
I'm
In
eating
2012,
Jesus.
Chyna decided to step away from the limelight of wrestling. For around the next 3 years, she moved to Japan to teach English to Japanese students.
You moved to Japan. You could have moved to...
And also converted to Mormonism. It was during her time in
Mormonism is fucking crazy, I won't lie.
Japan that she finally reconnected with her mom after having maintained no contact for a long 16 years. Chyna's call with her mom lasted over an hour long, and the two chatted about various happenings in the wrestling icon's life, ranging from the situation with Triple H and remorse about entering the adult film industry right down to life in Japan. Having mended things with her mom, Chyna eventually returned to the USA, but her substance abuse demons followed her because in November of 2015, TMZ claimed that Chyna was arrested for public intoxication after cops found her outside of her apartment building in a drunken stupor. Many people were concerned about Chyna's well-being after she returned from Japan because it seemed like she had spiraled out of control once again. Chyna's ex-lover, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, spoke with Triple H concerning her, and WWE agreed to pay for her rehab. However, Chyna turned WWE-funded rehab down because she was very paranoid of the WWE. This was extremely sad because it was evident that she had given up on herself. Those close to Chyna would not be without criticism though, as a manager allegedly delayed helping her because he was negotiating a deal for her to appear on the reality TV show Intervention.
Literally
The
her
final
fault.
days revealed a cycle of continuously attempting and failing to turn her life around. All of Chyna's attempts to get every last shred of toxicity
There comes a point where shit gets so bad and you get so out of control of yourself. Can you really say it's her fault when it gets to a certain point? The beginning, she made dumbass choices in the beginning. What it spiraled into is out of her hands. But in the beginning, yeah, that shit was all her.
out of her body and mind through self-destruction didn't bear a single fruitful result in the end.
She put herself on a shitty ass path, right? And then it went it
She
went
had
goofy,
no
silly,
idea
crazy
that
mode
a
after that.
problematic fate was on its way to getting the last laugh. On April 20, 2016,
You deny help? Yeah. You make excuses, and then your life goes to shit.
Chyna was found dead in her home at the age of 46. Multiple outlets reported that Chyna's death was accidental due to consuming alcohol and prescription drugs. Her body was found by her manager, and according to him, Chyna died on April 17, and he found her 3 days later after not being able to contact his client. Emergency medical responders pronounced her dead on the scene. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office released a full autopsy that included the details. According to the report, Chyna died with traces of painkillers, oxycodone, and oxymorphone in her system. Additional drugs were also present, like Valium and another muscle relaxer. Alcohol was also present in her body at the time of her death. Her autopsy also revealed that she had nephrosclerosis in both of her kidneys, which is a condition that can be caused by steroid abuse. It's nothing less than
That's a crazy way to end a fucking video.
tragedy that Chyna's real-life struggles and controversial career choices prevented her from getting her flowers while she was still alive to enjoy them. Her influence is palpable across today's uber-competitive women's division though. Rhea Ripley, who many fans dub as this generation's Chyna, admitted that she's proud to be compared to such a groundbreaking personality. While she has yet to receive a solo induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, Chyna received a posthumous one as a member of D-Generation X in 2019. What's more poetic is that her long-awaited induction took place during the weekend which featured women headlining a WrestleMania for the first time ever. There's no denying that if she were alive to witness the iconic triple threat bout between Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey, she would have teared up with delight, knowing that everything she did to fight against all the odds to elevate the status of women in the pro wrestling realm was worth every drop of blood, sweat, and tears. Chyna transformed women's wrestling, but if you'd like to find out more about women's wrestling,
I would say it's a W video, but the thumbnail or the title is pretty fucking incorrect. She wasn't used and abused. She fucked herself over. That was kind of that. This one's not wrestling related. Y'all remember the show Raw Time?